I wanted to circle back to something that you said earlier about leading your family. What does that mean for you? Because I think you and I, when people want to criticize us, they'll call us misogynists, woman haters, whatever, and they'll say things like we're Neanderthals and whatnot because they hear something like, "Well, I'm the leader of my family." But leadership has all kinds of forms, right? Like I believe in the servant leader model, right? Where my job as leader is to set the mission and then help everyone else achieve that mission. That's my job. So when I say I'm leading my family, I'm not knocking people over the head and saying, this is what we're doing, deal with it. What is your version of leadership in family? And how do you balance the fact that your wife, I'm sure, is a tremendous lady. I'm sure she's super smart and has a lot of great ideas. How do you incorporate all of that and still be the leader and be kind and all of these things, Jesse? How are you not really a Neanderthal, my friend?
Well, I mean, I am a Neanderthal and a complete scumbag. But to what you just said, that is what leadership is. I mean, leadership is serving and things like that. I do lead my home. I am the head of the household, but my wife doesn't want for anything. She spent all Mother's Day having me making her breakfast and bringing it to her in bed and putting on a brand new necklace. And my wife is not some quiet little church mouse. We have arguments about it. She has strong opinions about things. That this is not a drill instructor versus Marine Corps recruit relationship by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, what our society has done, what the West has done, and it's really pathetic, our culture has convinced men they're pathetic, weak buffoons, and it's convinced women they're oppressed and have been silenced and they have things really hard here, and it's absolutely destroying the happiness of both of them. There is no happiness for a dude being led around by his woman, and there's no happiness for a woman leading around a dude. And part of the reason our West has gotten so soft and feminized and feeling oriented and pathetic is because men haven't stepped up. People complain about feminists all the time. I have a good time making fun of them, don't get me wrong. I don't blame feminists, I blame men. If men were strong enough to say absolutely not, then you don't have a feminist movement. However, nature abhors a vacuum, and the lack of male leadership, women will step up, and you have what we have now, and it's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah. Sometimes, are you familiar with the phrase shit test?
Yes.
Yes,
I am.
Yes. So it feels like an entire giant cultural society-wide shit test. It's like, are you guys going to let us get away with this? You are? Damn. Right? There's like a little bit of hope inside when a shit test occurs. It's really a radar ping for leadership. It's a radar ping for masculine energy. It's like, are you still leading me? Are you still masculine? Is your frame still strong? Do you still look at me and chuckle? And because that is what actually the shit test is all about, is trying a woman to become confirmed and to be reassured in that. And when you fail a shit test, that's when everything falls apart. And that's where we are sort of nationally failing the shit test. And it's going to take guys like you to step up and to teach your kids how to step up and have, this energy sort of spread. How do we spread this energy? How do we turn our male citizens of America, if you can even call them that anymore? It's pathetic what we see out there. It's pathetic. How are we going to turn the tide? What do we do, Jesse?
You're already doing it, Jack, for one. You're already doing it by the message you put out on your show, by the message you put out on your social media, and by how you raise your kids. But for anybody out there watching this right now, and I know we have a bunch of people are, if you're a dude and you're wondering how you can do that, how you can spread it, it's your kids. It's your kids. That's your responsibility. I mean, it sounds like cavemanish, but the truth is you're going to die one day, and those kids are going to take over this society. It's your job to make sure they're ready to do so. Your kids are the way you can really, really change things. Now, you and I are blessed to have a platform where we can be more vocal about this and hopefully influence others in that way. But if you don't have a platform or a Twitter account or a show or anything like that, raise your kids that way. Friends and family can be influenced a lot. Nobody in the world, I had a guy tell me this one time, nobody in the world, no two people on the planet have the exact same circle, meaning people circle, family and friends and whatnot. Nobody else has your exact circle. So you can affect your circle in ways that I could never.
You got to start with the kids, guys. First, actually, start with yourself. You have to start with yourself. Look at Jesse. Jesse's not a big fat slob, even though he's talking about eating double smoked shacks for lunch. When you work out and you watch everything else, you can eat that cheeseburger every once in a while. But seriously, guys, you got to start with yourself. If you can't lead yourself, if you can't lead your body, if you can't lead your own health, how are you going to lead anybody else? How are you going to lead your family? How are you going to lead your kids? How could you lead your community if you can't even walk down the street wearing a uniform that says, I'm in control of my life? And of course, the benefits to taking care of yourself physically go way beyond anything like that of status and other things. It's a cascade of benefit. I always say saving the world starts in the squat rack. I've got two things here in my basement. I've got my studio. I am in my basement, unfortunately. And I have my squat rack over here. These are my two main areas of focus outside of the kids. And for that, that is step one. Step one, being strong, actually being physically strong, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually strong as well. Jesse, what do you do? Because to me, these are the components of personal sovereignty. They start with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual integrity. And by integrity, I mean a whole, something that's not disintegrated, something that is integrated into one thing. How do you fill up your spiritual side, Jesse? What is your spiritual life like, sir? Because to me, it's an essential component to doing this thing that we got to do for us and for the country.
Well, it is an essential component. I mean, me personally, I'm a Christian. I was raised Christian. My family are Christian. We go to church. We're non-denominational Christians. As for the nation needs that too. And people get so uncomfortable when you talk about religion in a country. Mm-hmm. But every powerful nation, every nation, period, of any kind in the history of mankind has had a religion. Whether it's your religion or my religion or whatever people believe in, the religion of a nation is like the sun, and the rest of the nation, everything else revolves around it. It is the center part of it. Even a tiny tribe somewhere has a religion. Mega powerful nations have religions. Even if they're disgusting religions like the Aztecs where they're sacrificing kids alive, they still had one because it's what everything else comes from. It's where your culture, your laws, it's where everything else comes from. And a big part of why we're failing in this country, Jack, is we ran away from God. Church attendance is at record lows right now. And so when you don't have that, because there's some atheists right now scoffing at what I'm saying, and I don't care. But if you're scoffing at it, hear me out here. If you don't have that sun you're revolving around, then what are you doing? You're just fluttering your way through space. And so you get suckered in by this and suckered in by that because you don't have a mooring of some kind. You have no central founding. And believe me, I'm not preaching at anybody here. There is not a single Christian on the planet who's worse than me. Not one. And I really do mean that. I'm a terrible human being. But as a country, I understand we need it. And as a family, you asked how to lead. As a family, I know they need it. I mean, I need it too. Obviously, I don't exempt myself from that, but my kids have to have that. They're going to grow up with that. Now they're going to be men and they're going to make their own choices, but they're going to know the direction I want them to go, and we'll see which way they end up.
I'm half Jewish, half Catholic. I had a bar mitzvah when I was a kid. I also went to Sunday mass, right? I've seen both and I participated in both. And I think because of the confusion and the clash, I think I lost it. And I'll tell you, there was definitely a time in my life where I was not just atheist, but like pretty hardcore, right? Like it's clear. It's totally obvious. What's wrong with you people? And, thankfully, I grew out of that. And I came to understand that there's got to be something. Now, I don't know what it is exactly, but there is something out there that is bigger than me, that has more power than me, that I should probably look up to with reverence. And I do totally, completely, 100% understand the value of religion in a society. And whether or not, we have an official national religion, and there's no question that America was built on Christian values. And so in many ways, it is a Christian nation because of that. And we have definitely drifted away. And not only have we drifted away, but we have replaced it with something that acts like a religion, that does not give the benefit of the religion that we would like to see.